Hello, hello, and welcome everybody to this last Blueprints of the New. And my name is Alexis Sersha, and I'm broadcasting live from far north Queensland, from my little place in town that has served me so well. Sometimes it was a challenge also that I will sort of talk a little bit more in this show just a little bit later. But let's just all come into this space, into this safe space at a round table at this monthly show that has been going on for a few years, since 2017 when I first broadcasted live. And thank you, each and every one who has attended and who will watch this live. It's a really, I was kind of trying to sort of summarize for myself what it felt like to be running, to be broadcasting the blueprint. And it's been such a journey, because when I started in 2017, it was the first time that I was really starting to speak on behalf of my own soul self. And it was very awkward at first, and I had to get used to, and I wasn't used to sort of even just talking for an hour into the camera, because even though I can feel each and every one of you, I can't actually see you. So initially it was very, very odd, and my human self used to be very prepared in its human self way, because I would kind of write little points down, on the computer, just in case if I ran out of things to say, because I I didn't 100% as a human self trust that, like the stream, the channeling stream, that how it all works, and that once it starts, it knows exactly what time it is, and it normally would just the stream stop like 10 minutes before the show would be ending, just for the Q&A. And how it was amazing to my human self how this stream, this consciousness, my soul self, my awareness knew the time so well. So then I didn't have to prepare myself anymore in this old way, like making lists and things. I just always needed to make sure that I'm clear, that I'm present, and then I'm open to saying what the stream wants to say, to be able to portray the best way that my mind, that my the words can portray. But even more importantly, it's also, of course, the energy behind it. So I always make sure that I'm clear and clean, and allowing all these streams of energy to flow through as unobstructed as I could at any time. And so, yes, so there's still some people logging in, and thank you for joining this celebration. And today I spent some time on the beach. It really felt so special for me, because there are so many different parts and components of this journey, and that is so similar to how I know that people that I work with in private sessions, perhaps, and in other ways, it is very similar to their journey. And for most people, they don't do the live streams and things like that, and yet it all has to do with becoming comfortable and trusting with your soul self, and that it is not going to make a fool of you, or if you do make a mistake, you're okay. You allow, you accept, other people accept you when there are some mistakes, or if anything funny does happen, which I believe it was only once that the technology didn't work, that I had to record afterwards, as far as I know, in few years time, since 2017. So that's pretty good. I normally come back to my town, Cairns, to do the shows, because we are in a more remote area of this continent of Australia. So even when you go out of town, even the phone service stops working. So most of the time there is no connection. So luckily here in I've got a little place in town that I use a lot, and I do all the broadcasts like this from here because of the internet. And the interesting thing is, when I was reminiscing and all of the different things that have happened through the blueprints, just when I started the blueprints, someone in the complex um, that other people worked on rewiring, putting all the new updated wiring for the internet network, so that I didn't have to actually do anything. I didn't even have to go to a meeting or anything like that. It was all kind of just done, so that I was ready with a stable internet to start broadcasting. So a lot of things like that happened. And then a lot of also things for me personally, just as I said, as I mentioned before, in trusting my soul self, in trusting myself that I can understand, that I can hear, that I can accurately translate my soul. And then when later others, all these, uh, beings that can feel so intimidating, like Yeshua, Saint Germain, Mary Magdalene, when they've asked, if I would channel on their behalf, it was a huge deal. I had to prepare. Like there's a lot of preparation. And what I mean by that is just hanging out with them, allowing all the different aspects to integrate, to transform, to change, so that I can do these things. So it's a real huge growth. And if anybody of you are thinking about doing something similar or like this, or anything to do with your soul, know that you can absolutely trust yourself in this way. You can trust your soul. You can trust your I am that I am. And you all of you will walk through this kind of learning, this kind of joint venture, or creativity together, and all of the ideas that keep happening, and all of the things and inspirations that I had along the way, and all of the things I also had to integrate, like the being self-conscious, body issues, not being okay with being seen. Also, when I used to do it very early in the morning, and I was going through that period, that funny period where, the breaks, your reality changes, and your creations start really happening very quickly. But unless you are clear, unless you are very integrated, a lot of unwanted things happen at that time, because you create from unintegrated parts still. So there was a time where, for a while, just this there was a synchronicity, but not a fun one for me. Just before the night before the show, perhaps this neighbor or that neighbor or the other neighbor would have a party, especially because it was Friday night for them. For me, the shows were on Saturday morning, or I think Sunday morning, but still the weekend. And it always just happened that perhaps, 3 weeks in between, it was all quiet. And then, yep, the blueprints the next day, someone would have a loud party or something like that. Then when I changed the times, the parties stopped, so it's very, there are a lot of things in the background that do happen. There were a lot of sleepless nights, because I would have had to integrate things, and just before the show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go on the show without any sleep, black eyes and all of that. And yep, even that has had to happen. So this whole few years of blueprints, it's really a testament, a testimony, and a witness to all of the different adventures, into humorous things, into funny things, and the wonderful things, in the enormous growth, growth in the expansion, in who you become, who you allow yourself, this continual, oh, wow, now I can do this, now I can do that. That happens when you are allowing yourself as a soul to be present in your everyday life. And so I hope that, like people that come afterwards, that they will also be able to see that, and also the transformation, because when you can see all of the different aspects that come to the forefront, or past lives that come to the forefront, and I can see them in some of the past episodes, and not that they were actually the ones speaking, because I was always able to allow that clarity, the soul to speak, or whoever I was channeling, and yet I could see them on the side in my energy, also them observing. And so there is just so many different points of view, different viewpoints, or different ways that you can have a look at all of these things that we are doing. And it just is a continual amazement as to how things unfold, how things grow, and how things develop. And so now, instead of the blueprints, for many of you know that I will be working closely with Tanya. And so we'll start from next week, next weekend, when we will be sort of doing more like a chat thing. And I think, we're very open to see how it will develop depending on who participates. And then from that collective energy, we will co-create exactly what is appropriate. And it's also the time that for us, for me, um, it feels like that there is the time that we really are stepping out of working solo, and we're more now open to really working with others that are also on this journey. It doesn't have to, we've had such a solo time on self-reliance and doing it all on my own, doing everything. And and it was important because it really taught me how to rely on myself only, because I had to rely on myself only. And now I am in that space where I can actually work with others, and I'm really looking forward to that. And also, there are all these other things that are happening. So I have actually now finally started writing the book. I have been writing a few times, but now it's all kind of coming together. So that will be coming out. Yeshua and Mary Magdalene have also asked me to there is this inspirational idea to put together a little video where they will each speak with little bits of videos that I'm taking all over the place. So this is another new venture that I haven't done before, like editing video in this way. And so you see, there always are these new things to look forward to. And also it feels like the next time, these times that are coming with these immediate changes, and rather than doing something monthly like the blueprints, and perhaps something like this will come back. And I am open always to do what needs to be done. But it feels this next stage will be much more quick and flexible, will require a much greater flexibility. So I may do much more shorter little messages that I can video all over the place, that I can then release as they happen, as things happen, depending on what the energy is. And there are now so many of monthly things that we are so lucky, we are so abundant with all of the things that we have. I remember, even about a decade ago, we had a radio. There were a couple of, or one radio show a month, and not much else really in at the level that we're talking about, at this level of reality of embodying the soul. There are a lot of new age things, but which are still about giving the power away to crystals, power away to other people, that they can heal us and all of that. But this real embodiment of I am that I am, of your soul self, there at that time weren't many people doing anything. So we've all come such a long way in what we have allowed ourselves, what we created, because you just open the internet and there is so much that is available, so much that is available. And yes, we are, Michael, and we too welcome you and celebrate you. And we celebrate us also, as Alex, as Alexis, and as other human parts of our counterparts of ourselves that are physical. We, Mikhail, are enjoying this experience of being physical, of being embodied, of experiencing the embodiment, the spirit in action, the spirit in the physical reality, this dream that we've dreamed, that we've envisioned such a long time ago. And now we are living it. And yes, it is all that we wished for, that we hoped for, if we use your human language, the human language, but it is also so much more. And yes, also we can feel all of the frustrations of our human counterpart and all sorts of things that she experiences. And would we want to do anything else? No. We enjoy the physicalness, we enjoy living, we enjoy being able to touch the ocean, to touch the sand, to know what it's like when you come on, when your skin is filled with sand, there's sand everywhere in your hair, and you sit in the car and the car is full of sand. You see, there are so many things that we didn't know before, when there was that separation between our human counterpart and ourselves, the I am that I am. We didn't know what it feels like sitting on a car seat with sand scratching your legs. We didn't know what it feels like, the drink of cold water on a hot day. And now there's all these things, you see, it is this simplicity that we are in love with, that we revel in, that we enjoy. All these human things that as human self you thought it was an everyday occurrence. And yet the chemistry behind it, the math, the science behind it that makes it all possible is quite incredible. And you are fully part of this. You are not some forgotten little tiny human being, as what your mass consciousness was teaching you that you are. You are an important, you are the great, magnificent part of ourselves, of your I am that I am. And so we also want to mention all our friends that have, non-physical friends that have participated in this show. They are here also celebrating with us. Yeshua, feel him, Yeshua. Yeshua is here with us, and Mary Magdalene is here with us. And of course, our dear friend Saint Germain, that all of you also know. And he's patting us on our shoulder, because he's very, very much wanting to speak. But we wanted to have our turn as well, because we wanted to thank each and every one of you, whether you are watching this now or whether you are watching this later, for playing with us in this way. For we have felt each one of you. We have been with each one of you. We have followed. We are your greatest followers and fans. You have no idea how many non-physical fans you actually have. And we have our own Facebook, and we have our own Instagram, a cosmic Facebook and cosmic Instagram, and we follow you. And we follow you with care and with admiration and with love, watching what each and every one of you are doing, and watching in this amazement as to what is unfolding on this earth, what you are allowing, each and every one of you, what you are experiencing. Even 10 years ago, that all of this was but a dream, was it not? And so yes, okay, we give in, we'll have some tea. We give in, we're welcoming our dear friend, Saint Germain, to come in and speak with you. And so until next time, and we are looking forward to working with you in all sorts of different ways. We are Mikhail, and we greet you, and we celebrate you. Oh, yes, finally, finally, I am Saint Germain. And you can feel me, can you not? Because I feel very human. I have done all these human things. I am now the ascended master, as you know me. And each one of you know me because we have been working towards this and through the mystery schools in Egypt in all of these different times, in times that are not past, but you are now realizing how close they are, just sitting, so to speak, right next to you. The past is not the past, the future is not the future, dear friends. It is all here. And yes, just like Mikhail has mentioned, the last decade has been monumental because I see each and every one of you, what you are allowing, you are understanding, allowing, you are feeling yourself as a soul, you are knowing, you are hearing, understanding what that part of you says. You are no longer like some Indiana Jones of the old days when the other side was unrecognizable, when the other side was so far away that you had to get all these weird clues and you would have to go on these world journeys in the movies, if not in real life, and try to find these artifacts and then try to piece things together to know, perhaps know what the soul, what the other side, what was trying to tell you, trying to decipher all these words, all these signs, all these different weird things that they put in movies. And yet it wasn't so far away from the truth, was it not? Was it, dear friends? Because the other side was that non-understandable even but a decade ago. What about 2 decades ago, where there was only a few people, for example, like Jane Roberts, who was channeling Seth, just like few people like that were able to channel on behalf of non-physical things. It was now every one of you can channel if you wanted to. If you really set your mind to it, it's all possible. Can you see this monumental change that you have invoked, that you have asked for, that you have transformed yourself, that you have alchemized yourself? And now you are in that state, in that position, most of you in all sorts of different ways, that you are allowing this being touched by your soul, the being touched by the I am that I am. That is not some mystery. It is a mystery now in a different way, is it not? Because this state of being who you now are, this state of being, of allowing, is very different than what your mind has imagined. And I can hear some of your mind saying, yes, yes, Saint Germain, but it is not what I thought, because I thought I was going to be in paradise. And I say to you, dear friends, dear friend, the particular one who's saying that, allow more and you will see and you will experience firsthand the paradise, the reality, the real paradise that you are living. And the example that I gave of the Indiana Jones was to actually, so you can see just what a huge shift that you have allowed, what a huge change that you have allowed. And now, in this year, and in particular this month, it is kind of like a camel's hump. Is that the right way to say it? When you have a hump day, some people call Wednesday the hump day. That's what I mean. It's kind of like a hump month where it felt like you're going uphill, 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 and now you're at certain height. at the top of the hump, and now it's going to feel like you're going to be downhill. And downhill, I don't mean going down into the gutters, but I mean going downhill with ease and grace, with ease and grace, because you are trusting, you are allowing, you are self-loving. All of these were a theory before. All of these you were throwing around like some everyday object that you see and that you don't notice anymore. But you never felt it, you never experienced them until now, until you have. And when you've really integrated them, when you've experienced them, you realize their power. And I don't mean in this way the power over for this life. This enlightened life is a powerless life because you are not battling against anybody. You're not comparing yourself to anybody. Oh, except you, I see you. You're still playing that game, are you not? I see you. Well, as long as you're enjoying it different, you keep comparing yourself to others, but you know that box, how much it is limiting you, how much is it is limiting what you allow yourself, because it is only you, yourself, that are shortchanged by that box of human pride, that box of wanting to feel better than who, when it's all your energy, when it's all just yourself. How can you feel better? You see what a silly game it was. Yes, sure, it was interesting. And yes, you can keep playing it, but it is a small game. And for others of you who have now let go of those kind of games, you are realizing just how pleasurable it is just to allow yourself to be you, to allow yourself to want what you want, to allow yourself to experience, to taste, to smell this beautiful, gorgeous, divine sense of things that you perhaps before didn't even notice because you were busy comparing yourself to others, battling, or doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things. It was funny to watch you. I can say that for sure. And I've watched you, each and every one of you I've watched doing these things, and you have no idea how many times, how much laughter, in a good way, you have brought to us, the comedy of earth. And look at them, how seriously they're taking themselves, until that day when they are no longer doing that. Until that day when they realize the comedy show that this is. And dear friends, the humor, the ability to see this as a comedy show is serving you well. And for those that are not using it, I advise you to get there, good to get on board with this, because it will help you to be behind the short wall. It will help you, and you will need this ability to go behind the short wall more and more, even with all of those last vestiges of things that are so ingrained within you, that are triggering you, that are continually making you react to things, because they look now much bigger than they are, because you have cleared so much of those huge things. So now you're perhaps dealing with few little pesky things. So look at them with the humor, because it's this humor that will allow you to really let go of things, to really let go of everything that is still holding you back, that is still triggering you, that is still pressing those buttons. And I see you, you're no longer having those buttons pressed as much as we used to. All of these sessions, or perhaps how you would call them, are much shorter now, for sure. They are so short, almost, but they still torment you. Some of you, they torment you, and they will until you let even those things go, and then you can just smoothly surf these waves that are coming. You can enjoy, you can enjoy the abundance, the life that the way it was meant to be. It's not that what was meant to be before, what happened before wasn't meant to be, but now as a whole being, as your whole self. So your life is playing with you in a whole way. And so even if you are following the same routes, the same, the same things, you perhaps live in the same place, you're discovering it in a new way. You are reveling in nature, in all of this glorious beauty that earth provides. You are enjoying the friendships, whether you have them in person or online, it matters not. You're enjoying the connections, because for many of you, this hard work, that decade of extremely hard transformation, the hard work that you've done, for many of you, that is completed now. You are complete, and for some of you, I can see that you're still in that mindset, so to speak, where you think, okay, so now I have to, integrate this and more, and you're kind of like now on that bandwagon of integration, when I would like to just remind you, wake up and enjoy, wake up and smell the roses, especially now in the northern hemisphere, because you got this opulent summer, and for many of you, you can come out of your homes, the restrictions easing, so you can enjoy your world in a new way. You no longer need to run, you no longer need to rush, you no longer need to worry about the past and the future. You are now in this now moment because you're trusting yourself, and you can trust yourself because you have integrated, you have transformed those undermining parts of yourself, those parts of yourself that were battling you, that you thought you had to battle, the divisions. You have transformed them, and for some of you, yes, you are still transforming them, and that's okay. You are in exactly the perfect space, in exactly the perfect time. And so, for those of you, for some of you already realized, congratulations. What an amazing, amazing lifetime. Did you ever think that it was going to be this good? No, you didn't. You imagined some fluffy things in the past. Your mind was kind of imagining what it's going to be like, and yet reality is so much better. It is so much better because it is real, it is gritty, it is physical, it is sensual. And so, together, we are now embarking on a completely different kind of work, because we no longer, with many of you, have to keep transforming, keep integrating. You got that down, you know how to do this. Now we're going to completely different abilities that you have, that you haven't even discovered yet. We're going to explore what it's like to be able to feel the effects of your past changing, your future changing, because they are all right here. To feel yourself timeless, what it is like to be out of time. Because, you know, before that, you never were able to experience that as a human being. But now, for some of you, you truly have experienced that state of being that is timelessness. And isn't it funny how every time you experience something new, you know exactly what it is? So, how did you know you're experiencing timelessness when you experienced it when you never experienced before? Now, I leave that up to you to resolve. Dear friends, we are in such an exciting time. Even I'm excited about this physical world. And as you know, I'm never going to come back into the physical body, not the same way as you imagine it. But I can now have these prolonged stays. I can now enjoy us, the ascended masters that have not chosen to come back into the physical reality. We used to be able to only stay for short amount of time because it was very uncomfortable, but we can now stay with you much longer because the energy has completely transformed. It is free, it is flowing, it is flexible, it is gentle, it is all of these things that make life, physical life, so enjoyable. And so too, there are mm, many opportunities as to how we're going to organize this physical reality. And it will be much easier to meet, for us to meet the non-physical peoples, beings, and the physical ones, because the reality is changing to such a degree that all of those divisions that used to be are gone and are pretty much fast going. And so in this way, what is possible between our world and yours, it no longer does have this kind of division, you see. And so for those people that have moved on and have realized themselves, they too can then now embody themselves for a few days. Because you see, as I mentioned before many times, that you retain this ability to have body, to have the light body. You retain it even after you you make a move on, so to speak. You see, because once you are physical and realized, you always can manifest yourself as physical being, and you don't need to go through birth and death and all that comes with that, because now you can feel it as I'm speaking, all of these possibilities. I can feel the firing, the sparks flying and lightning up inside of you, because there are some of the things you haven't even thought of and in this way. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because the more you kind of contemplate this kind of things that were not possible, the more they are become possible, then the more you can actually then allow to happen with your physical body as well, as to its health, as to its fitness, as in a state of well-being, as to how it heals itself, as to all of these things. And you are making what once was impossible possible. And so all of these things, and you playing with this kind of potentials and allowing them to come closer to the reality, that means to enreal them, to make them real, make them physical. The more of these kind of things you consider for them to be real, to you own them and you allow them to be real, then they become physical, they become real, and then your life becomes even more flexible. And so in this way, you then don't have to utilize so much of the technology. You see, you utilize more of your natural abilities for everything, for healing, for what is possible to heal, how it's possible, even how it is possible to see, to hear, to smell, all of these things that can change, all of your natural senses can change. And this is very important because it is kind of like this other way, other route, or the path kind of less traveled, that is now traveled by many of you, as opposing, let's say, if we use that word, to the technological enhancements. Because for those of you that have had some health issues and perhaps are having some health issues, you know that most often what they offer to you in medical terms is not half as good as what your natural, you know, thing was before. So you know, the natural is best because it is living, it is changing, it's changeable, it is moving. So if you have, once you have a replacement, you know that normally it's not as good as what the natural one was. And so it is better if you do open up to more and more in this way, that you can show not only to yourself but to others as to what is possible. Now, this, of course, so many of these, well, all of these abilities, they do happen for others, because once you make them real for yourself, they become part of the mass consciousness. And so other people can also then start feeling that they are real, and then they become so for them as well. Then as people are able to do that, then there is no need for any technological augmentation, because they bring in those self-healing capabilities themselves. Um, and so I would encourage you in this way to keep dreaming, to keep visualizing, envisioning, and don't dismiss any of the ideas that you get, as in, you know, just because it was never possible, it's not just a dream, but it can be a reality depending on you. And yes, I can hear also the mind saying, oh, but in the past there were so many things, you guys, meaning us, like the non-embodied beings, you guys said they were possible and it didn't happen. No, because, dear friend, you are the one that is making these things real in physical. I, if you notice, I am disembodied. I'm not in physical at the moment. And so, what you decide, what you own, as much as what you can allow, you, the physical beings, is what happens. You see, it's not, I can suggest, I'm your dear friend. I can suggest, I can notice what the potentials and bring them to you, but you are the one that is making them real, that is choosing them, that is allowing them. And so, dear friends, let's have a look if we have any questions for today, as I believe it's the last blueprints of the series. And I would like to congratulate my dear friend Alexis for running these shows for a few years. It's been a pleasure to be a guest on these shows. And it's a pleasure working in all sorts of different ways in the future as well. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. No, we don't have any questions today. Oh, you have no idea how much joy each and every one of you bring us in our Ascended Masters Club, in our Ascended Masters groups. We joke about you. We chat about you behind your back. We laugh at you very, very often. We fall off our chair. We fall off our proverbial bums. When we see, sometimes we go, oh no, not again. When we see you doing all sorts of odd and weird things. And most of all, we celebrate you. Because when we see you doing, allowing this dream, this vision that has been so long in the temples of Tien, in Atlantis, in Lemuria, in Egypt, in mystery schools, in the times when we walked, when we rode horses, when we didn't have cars, when we talked and we dreamed and we hoped that all this is going to one day unfold. It is now here. And, you know, dear each friend, enjoy it. Enjoy the hell out of your life. Enjoy, go out and explore and dance if you can, or at home if you can't, go out and play. Enjoy your body, enjoy your friends. Explore this life that you have. Explore nature, go for long walks, go on a bicycle, get that new car. Do enjoy everything that the physical life offers you. You know, it all has to do with what voice do you listen to? Just as at the beginning of this show, Alexis kind of explained that it was how, through the blueprint, it was important that she listened to the voice of her soul and chooses that, because there were all these other voices that came and wanted to be chosen and came for attention, all the unintegrated aspects, the undermining aspects, all sorts of things. And yet you have to keep choosing the soul self. You have to keep choosing your greater self, not the aspects, not the mass consciousness, not the voice of fear, not the voice of it can't be done. You have to keep choosing your soul self, which is timeless, where everything is possible, every potential that ever was, that ever will be, excuse me, is there. Make it real for yourself. Make this your reality. Choose this voice that says, yes, it's real. Yes, I have this millions and quadrillions and billions of potentials. And I choose that. I choose that rather than the sick body. I choose that rather than depression, fear, all sorts of things that the mass consciousness is throwing at you. I choose trust and then feel it. I choose my soul self and then feel her. Give her the voice, whether you write or whether you speak or you record yourself or you speak with your friend. Give it a voice. Walk the talk. Live the life that you wanted to. And doing that means to live your life that you wanted to. Take those steps. Have the courage. Trust yourself. You see, no one else can do any of these things on your behalf. Take that step. And then again tomorrow, take that step. And before you know it, you will be living the life that you choose. And I know some of you already are, because you are listening to the voice of your soul self, and you have taken that as your truth, and you have taken that as your voice, that voice that speaks on your behalf, that dances on your behalf, that plays, that enjoys, that explores for you, as you. Because, dear friends, this is how you navigate these times with style, with panache, with joy, with excitement, with a thrill of living, which is meant to be. Life was meant to be thrilling, enjoying, with a passion that each one of you is unique. Your passion, each one of your passions is unique for you. So let go of all those comparisons and step into who you are and act from that space and take steps from that space and do from that space. And you will see difference. You will be amazed at what you discover. And so, from me too, Saint Germain, and from all of us, your non physical friends that have come to celebrate you, to dance with you, to enjoy with you this feast that is the physical life, that is the physical world, this beauty, this gem, this blue green planet that you live on, that you are part of. Enjoy it, dear friends. Laugh, dance, be humorous, be filled with humor, and most of all, be filled with self-love, with honor to yourself, with love to yourself, with thinking of yourself as amazing, unique, magnificent, wonderful being that you indeed are. And I am also, just so you don't forget. And for me, Saint Germain, and from all of my friends, I thank Mikhail and Alexis for hosting me on this show. And so until next time, thank you, dear friends. Oh, I think we might have some questions. Congratulations, Alexis. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, dear one. You are so loved. And I can see your playful spirit, your adventurous, fearless spirit that you are, and that your life reflects. Take that freedom, allow that freedom to be you that you've always wanted, and walk it, own it, be it. Thank you. Thank you, dear Alex and Masters, for all of your support and love. And you, dear sister, dear friend, also, you are doing such huge, monumental steps that you have taken in the last few years. And we see you blossoming into your life, into your freedom, into your passion. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.